to our Feel Your Life, Vital Life Force mini challenge or mini series. I'm going to do a bit of talking about anatomy, about how electricity and charge operates in the body, and also doing some exercises to actually feel what is going on. So a word that I like to use when we're talking about energy is bioelectricity. We're living things. Our cells are electrical, our nervous system is electrical, our bodies are electrical. So we have energy, we have lots of things going on inside us. And when we can tap into that and tune into it, then we can start to access a world of information that is there inside everyone, but that sometimes we need a little bit of help to access. So going back to the very basics of physics, we are built of atoms, and atoms carry charge. They have protons and electrons. Protons are positive, the electrons are negative, and there is a spin in that atom around the nucleus, which is more positive, and the electrons spinning around are negative. And what is electricity? Well, it's the shifting of electrons between the shells of atoms or between atoms. And so there is movement or motion of matter. And as we are all living, breathing, we interact with the world around us, which is increasingly electrical in nature as we bring in more televisions and mobile phones and signals into our environment. And so we're going through life, we are charged beings. We disconnected our energy from the earth by putting rubber on the soles of our shoes, approximately the same time in history as we started using electricity. And so that changed the interaction of our bodies as bioelectrical beings with our environment. Well, let's just have a little think about examples of electricity moving and affecting the body. If we think about static electricity in a piece of equipment, for example, if you've ever worked in a hospital, then you will probably know that metal items in hospitals seem to collect a lot of charge. And for me, I used to touch things and then jump as the electrons discharged to me from that item. So that's an example of static electricity building up and then discharging through an available route. And what we'd like to do today is just see whether we can feel our own charge, given that our cells have a positive and negative end. So let's see if we can feel what's happening in our body as a collection of 50 trillion cells, all with charge. This was a very simple exercise today, and you may be familiar with the idea of just sensing and feeling with your fingertips. But what I'd like you to do is to just hold your hands up a little bit apart. So a nice spread, feeling the sensation around your fingertips of the air. Feeling the nerve endings in your fingertips. Now, it's not essential to feel anything, and people, when they're starting this type of practice, don't always feel things. So let's just see if you're able to tune in with what you feel at your fingertips. You can give them a little rub if you want to just increase that charge a little bit so you can feel a bit more. Rub them together, rub your hands together. And then as you take your hands apart, I'd like you to take them quite wide apart and then bring them closer together. Now, as you bring your hands closer together, you should start to feel more density or thickness between them. So again, I've said the word should, but there's no should about it. There is what there is. You may feel nothing at all, but if you practice, then you may be able to tune in and feel that much more strongly. So just rubbing the hands together again, give the fingertips a rub, sense and feel what is going on in the air around your fingertips. Can you feel anything? If you can't feel anything, close your eyes. Just become a little more connected with the sensations that you're collecting from your fingertips. I'd like you to imagine your fingertips growing slightly thicker. And thicker again. And then spreading them out and bringing them slightly closer together. spreading them out. And bringing the fingers themselves closer together. And next time you go to that spread position, we're going to start playing the accordion. And so we're opening and closing, thinking about what we're feeling, the very tips of our fingers. If you can, even the palms of your hands. Do you feel anything different as you move further apart and closer together? And apart, feeling as if you're stretching. Imagine you've got elastic around the back of your fingers and a band joining both hands. So imagine that you're stretching this elastic and then bringing it together and squeezing as if you were squeezing an accordion. Stretching the elastic and squeezing like an accordion. Breathing in as you open up and breathing out as you come together. Now give your hands a little rest, a bit of a shake, and when you shake them on these sides, can you feel anything? Does it feel odd or strange? You feel that discharge? And then coming back, and an exercise I like to use is the seaweed exercise. So just allowing your hands to flow, and then set them again. Take your attention to the very, very tips of your fingers. And from the tips of your fingers, take your attention to the palms of your hands. Lifting up, with the palms upwards, turning over and gently pushing down. Lifting up, feeling as if you have something slightly heavy in your hands. So there's a bit of resistance there to the movement. Turning over and lowering down. And one more time. Lifting up. Up. A little bit higher this time. Awareness always on the fingertips. Fingers like sausages are thick. And then as you come down to the bottom, just scoot up and out. So anyone who's familiar with Tai Chi or Qigong will be aware these are movements that are used often in those practices. So we're going to come back to the hands facing each other. And just again, the awareness in your fingertips, the awareness in the palms of your hands. And now opening and squeezing again. At your own pace. Go a bit further with it. Further. See if you can feel any tingling in your fingertips. Any sensation of heat, of pressure, of thickness. And as you come back towards the center, can you feel any more density between your hands as you feel the electrical field around your opposite hand interacting? Just play with it. Play with the energy between your hands. And this is beautiful because I can see you working there. You just have a feel in different directions. Holding the ball, squeezing the ball of energy. You're really interested in what you're sensing in your fingertips. And your hands right close together now. Put them together. Give them another little rub. faster. You feel the heat when you rub faster. And then don't let them separate, just stopping. Feeling as if they're going to separate until you've got just a millimetre between your fingertips. A little more between your palms. Easing out a millimetre at a time. Feeling the sensation between your palms, between your fingertips. And as you go further out gently, when do you stop feeling the sensation of warmth or thickness or density between your hands? If you're used to energy work, you might go quite a long way. It takes practice. And let's gather in again. And this time, as you start to gather, to become really focused on the density or the thickness as you squeeze in through the air towards your opposite hand. Feeling just a slight resistance. There's nothing physically there, so therefore the resistance is very slight. Getting out again. And gently, just as far as you feel, you're still aware of your other hand. Get your fingertips out and stretch your hands. And let them relax. And together again. And just have a play as you come together with the sensation of what's going on in the space in between. Let's give the hands a little bit of a shake now. Planting your feet firmly on the ground, on the earth. And if you look down and move back from where you've been standing, you may see that there's more of an indent in the carpet or in the ground where you've been standing as you've started to use the energy of the earth as you've been working with your own bio or living electricity. So thank you for joining me today. And tomorrow we'll talk a little bit more about the cells and do some more exercises. On Wednesday we'll talk about the nervous system and we'll do some more practical then as well. And Thursday we'll talk about the fascia, the connective tissue of the body. On Friday then we'll talk a little bit about being able to measure the charge and the state of charge in the body using a Lecker antenna, because that's where I learned and came into energy medicine through that gateway.